Football is perhaps as old as humanity itself. People have always played some form of football, simply by kicking a ball made of any material that wouldn't hurt their feet, or even materials that would. I myself once knocked out a cousin's loose tooth while we were playing with plastic soda bottles. Of course, to play football, one must have feet, meaning we had to reach a point in evolution where we became bipedal hominids. There is no evidence of primitive balls before 2000 BCE. While it is possible that in ancient Egyptian hieroglyphs, balls were only thrown with hands, there is no doubt that fruits, gourds, stones, skulls, or any spherical object must have been kicked around over the centuries. But none of that was football. It was just playing, without rules and without apparent purpose. So, how and where did football actually originate? The clearest evidence we have points to China during the Han Dynasty, around 200 BCE, where a sport called kuju was practiced, literally meaning kickball. This game used stitched leather balls filled with feathers or animal skins. Some sources suggest they were stuffed with hemp. Two teams played on a marked field with opposing goals. Some sources describe the goals as crescent-shaped, while others suggest they were silk cloths with a hole in the center, supported by two bamboo posts. The game was popular among the nobility, but was especially practiced in the military, with writings describing how it aided in military training and provided relaxation after long hours on horseback. Over the centuries, the game continued to evolve, splitting into two styles. One, called Bai Da, was played by the lower classes and remained similar to kuju. The other, Zhu Chu, allowed little to no physical contact and was played among the nobility. In this variant, the two goals were replaced by a single goal in the Qiu center of the field. Players passed the ball among teammates, and one player would attempt to score, if successful, or even if not. As long as the team kept the ball in the air, they could maintain possession until it touched the ground. Kuju was popular enough to be mentioned in classical Chinese literature, where the character Gao Qiu secured his position in the Chinese bureaucracy due to his skills in the game. However, with the fall of these dynasties and the rise of the Ming dynasty, kuju disappeared. Yet, like many other Chinese inventions that spread beyond their empire through trade routes, variations of ball-kicking games emerged in different regions. In Malaysia, a sport called sepak raga, a mix of volleyball and football, was played with a lightweight ball made from rattan, a plant still used in furniture making today. In Japan, the game of kamari was played, and although nationalist historians insisted it was an indigenous game, its historical roots closely resemble the noble form of kuju. Kamari was played on a dirt court about 5 to 6 meters wide, marked by 4 trees in the corners, typically willows, cherry trees, or maples, though pines were considered of higher status. Players on each team stood in pairs at each corner. The ball was hollow, lightweight, made of deerskin, and painted white with egg whites or yellow with pine-based dyes. Players had to keep the ball in the air as long as possible, using the trees, whose branches were trimmed, to bounce it. Winning team was the one with the most passes, and referees could award extra points for skillful play. This game became a prestigious pastime among the nobility in the 12th and 13th centuries, with masters formalizing rules and gaining high status. Schools and practice houses for kamari flourished. However, the sport's elitism did not survive Japan's societal transformations and nearly vanished after World War II. So, were kuju and its descendants the predecessors of modern football? The connection lies in the fact that these games were played exclusively by kicking a ball. However, in other regions, such as Australia and the Americas, even older records of similar activities exist. Indigenous peoples also played foot-based games or used wooden sticks. Does that make them the ancestors of football? Medieval Chinese and Japanese cultures isolated themselves from the Western world until they were forced to open up again. What defined the birth of football was not who kept the ball in the air the longest or who kicked it first, but who was playing it at the moment of modernity. Perhaps in an alternate universe where China industrialized alongside Europe, many countries in the region today would be playing a different kind of football.